Okay, so we want to look at, so this is the first topic, conic sections. Okay, and then the first thing that we're going to talk about, since we know that we have got three main conic sections that we talk about, the first one being the parabola, the ellipse, and then the hyperbola. So we'll start with the parabola. Okay, so the parabola, we've got two main forms of the parabola. So I'll first give the ones whose vertex is at the origin. So we have the first one is y squared equal to 4px. And the second one is going to be x squared equal to 4py. So these, whenever you see an equation in that form, it should signal to you that the vertex is at the origin. And so if the vertex is at the origin, then there are only three things that are important. The first thing that is important is the focus. The second thing is the directrix. And then you may also need to talk about the latus rectum. Maybe just in the interest of finding the distance. Okay, so now the focus in this case, since whenever I have y squared, our graph will have either one of this kind or one of this kind. Okay, both with the vertex at the origin. So it becomes the one facing the right if the p that we get is greater than 0. And for the other one, if p is less than 0. Okay, so if p is greater than 0 or if p is less than 0. So we'll have those two. So if I'm dealing with the one facing to the right, then it means that the directrix is going to be on the left. So we'll remove this one. We'll talk about it later. So it means that the directrix is now on the left. So there will be directrix here. So it means that the focus is going to be at this point, sitting as p comma 0, and this will be x is equal to negative p as the directrix. Okay, that is if p is positive. So here we're dealing with this condition. And so if p is negative, then we'll have it first this side with the focus at negative p comma 0 and the directrix at x is equal to p. If p is negative. So now, don't get confused with this part, since P is negative. So as it appears on the X is equal to P, it has to be positive there, except that I cannot put it as a negative P, since there will be confusion of Y negative on the right, but in the actual sense, it will be positive on the right. Okay, so this is for the first case when you're dealing with Y squared. And then the other one, the second case, so if P is positive, then we're going to have it up here. The focus will be up here. So it will be 0, comma P. And then down, there will be directrix. Y is equal to negative P. And the other one, if P is negative, then it will be here. 0, comma negative P. And then the directrix will be up there. Y is equal to P. Okay, so it will make sense when numbers appear. So here we're talking about the focus, the directrix, and then the other spectrum. Here you just get the distance of the line that cuts the parabola in exactly at the focus. So this line here. So it touches the parabola in 2 pieces, but it cuts it at the focus. This one is the one called the data spectrum. This one. Okay. So it will be important sometimes. You may need that. You may be asked to give that. Okay, so now let's do an example so that we see how interesting this is. So we do an example. So we say examples. Okay. So one, I'll discuss the parabola below. Okay. Y squared is equal to negative 8x. And then B, x squared is equal to 12y. And then maybe C, we talk about y squared equal to 6x. Okay, 6x like that. So in the first case, y squared is equal to negative 8x. So now here you need to do them in steps so that we don't get confused at each point. So step one, we need to find P. Okay, remember that the general form for this type is y squared is equal to 4px. But we can't see P, we can't see 4p, we can only see negative 8. So this means that 4p is equal to negative 8. So if we divide by 4, we're going to get P is equal to negative 2. Okay? This immediately tells us that the focus is at negative 2, 0. Okay? Since y is squared, it's on the x-axis. And then the directrix is going to be x is equal to positive 2. So we get the opposite of that negative 2 on the focus. And then we can now sketch. So we are saying, okay, so it's facing on the left. So this is the situation like that. And so here is negative 2, 0, which is the focus. And then here is x is equal to 2, the directrix, and the vertex is at 0, 0. Okay, I think that's what is more important for a parabola of this kind. Okay, so I'll let you try. You try B. No, you try C. Yeah, you try C. So we do B since B is the x-axis. So you try C. Okay. So again, step 1, we need to find P. That is 4P is equal to 12. So P is equal to positive 3. And then step 2, the directrix. So once you find P here, it means that we know the focus. So the focus is going to be at 0, 3. Then directrix to be now y is equal to negative 3, the opposite of the P in the focus. When we sketch, so because the focus is always inside, so it will be 0, 3. And then we get y is equal to negative 3, like that. So 0, 0 there. So using the same approach, you can try C, that it makes sense. So you need to have those pieces there. Okay. So now the thing that is going to be of good interest is when there's a translation. When the vertex is not 0, 0. How does it look like? What changes? Okay, how do we make the movements? So let's go to that part now. Okay, so we'll be dealing with a parabola now. With vertex at h, k. Okay, so in the other one, I gave 2 forms. So I'll still give 2 forms even here. So now I want to put it in a complete way. So the axis, if the axis is y is equal to k, meaning we're on the y-axis. So we're going to have the equation to be y minus k squared equal to 4p x minus h. And for this case, the focus is going to be h plus p, comma k, because it's on the x. So it's located on the x. And then the directrix is going to be x is equal to h minus p. Remember, you always get the opposite of p. And then if we have that, then the equation should be x minus h squared equal to 4p y minus k, and here it will be h, k plus p, and here it will be k minus p. Okay, maybe for us to understand it well, let's do an example. Discuss. 1. Discuss y minus 1 squared is equal to negative 16 x plus 3. Okay, so what we mean by axis, we mean the line where the focus is going to sit, the vertex is going to sit. Like there will be a fixed line where you have the vertex and the focus. That's what we mean by the axis there. So in this case, since we have y squared, it means that the axis is y minus 1 equal to 0. So you equate what is in the bracket squared to 0. So you get y equal to 1. So we'll have the vertex on that line. And then we solve for p. So we have negative 16 there. When we divide by 4, what we get is that p is equal to negative 4. Okay? And then now if p is equal to negative 4, then we must know what our h and k are. So we've already known the k, the h, we equate x plus 3 to 0. So we're going to get x is equal to negative 3. So this is our h, and this was our k. So since we are putting k to be with y and h to be with x. And so we have the vertex at minus 3, comma 1. And then the formula for the focus is here. So we're dealing with h plus p. Now what is h? H is negative 3 plus p. P is negative 4, comma 1. Okay. So this is simplified as negative 7, comma 1. Okay. What else do we need? The directrix. So what's the directrix? X is equal to h minus p. But we are told that h is what? H is negative 3. Minus p, p is minus 4. So we get minus 3 plus 4, which is equal to positive 1. And so we can put up the sketch. So we have negative 7, comma 1. So 1, comma negative 7 to give us a focus. And the vertex is negative 3, comma 1. So this is going to go like that. Like that. Okay, and the directrix, x is equal to 1, so it's on the right. Like that. Okay, so we have that graph. So you can see the axis is y is equal to 1. That's the line which has the focus and the vertex. And then we have the directrix, x is equal to 1. So you could actually find the intercept. Sometimes they'll ask you also to find the intercept. So if you want to find that intercept, you make y is 0. So when y is 0, you're going to have -1 squared equal to -16 x plus 3. So that will be, if you expanded, we are getting +1 equal to -16x minus minus 48. So when this goes the other side, we get minus 16x is equal to +49. And then divide by minus 16. So we're going to have minus 49 over 16. Okay, so if that is the case, then we need to change the orientation of the graph. So we drew it before we could check the intercept. So it means that it will come, it has to be here, like that. So we'll have minus 49 over 16. Like that. Okay, so we can do another example. We see what happens if it's on the x. So how do we respond if it's on the x? So let's do another example. So 2, I want to do x plus 3 squared is equal to is equal to 6 y plus 4. Okay, so here is the equation. So first we know that, okay, so now the vertex, the focus will be on the x, on the line x is equal to something. So what something is that? So we get x plus 3 and equate it to 0. So we get x is equal to -3. So we know that on that line, we're going to have the focus and the vertex. So this is the h. Then now we look for k from this one. So k is -4. So we have found the vertex. So the vertex is at -3, -4. What else do we need? The focus. So what's the formula for the focus? So the formula for the focus, if it's on the x, so if we check, if I take it back, so you can see it's going to be h, k plus p. h, k plus p. So it means that we need to find p. So what is p? So we do 4p is equal to 6. So p is equal to 6 over 4, which is equal to 3 over 2. So now we have our h, which is -3, comma our k, which is -4, plus 3 over 2. Like that. So this is simply -3 comma negative 8 plus 3, that's negative 5 over 2. That's the focus. What about the directrix? So let's check the directrix. So now it's y is equal to k minus p. So y is equal to k minus p. K is negative 4. P is 3 over 2. So get negative 8 minus 3, that's minus 11 over 2. Now, because we want to sketch, so let's see how it looks like. So it will be negative 3, comma 4. Negative 3, comma negative 4. So it's here. This is the vertex. Going where? Going to the focus. The focus is negative 3, comma negative 5 over 2. So negative 5 over 2. Here. So we can find the y-intercept. So where there is x, we put 0. So I'm going to have 0 plus 3 squared equal to 6y plus 24. Okay, that is 9 minus 24 is equal to 6y. So I've not placed well the thing. Okay, we'll come back. So have 6y is equal to negative 15. Divide by 6, divide by 6. So get y is equal to negative 15 over 6. Okay, so the points negative 3, comma negative 5 over 2 is actually which point? It's actually here. Negative 5 over 2. I'd gone on the x instead of going on the y. So it's supposed to be here. Okay. So we are going to cut at negative 15 over 6, somewhere in between these guys. So it has to be like that. Okay. And then, so this means that the directrix, which we got to be negative 11 over 2, is down here. So this is y is equal to negative 11 over 2. So now what happens is we could also find the x-intercept by making y 0. So we're going to have x plus 3 squared. Okay, x plus 3 squared is equal to 24. So you get the square root, you get x is equal to minus 3 plus or minus the root of 24. So we have minus 3 minus root 24 and minus 3 plus root 24. So it means that you have a complete sketch with all the intercept indicated. Remember this one, we know what it is. We have found it to be negative 15 over 6. But what's mostly key is that for those that have the equation, I can easily find the intercepts. So what's key is to find the vertex, to find the focus, to find the directrix, especially for this type, which is translated. The other one, where it's at the origin, is easy because you only find the focus and the directrix. But this one, you have to find the vertex and also keep those formulas that guide you to finding the focus and also finding the directrix at each point. Okay, so this class was just for parabolas. Then tomorrow we'll do an ellipse The other day we'll do hyperbolas, and then we'll do the rotation, then we'll do the polar. So each day we move. So this was in parabolas. Though there are still some questions that we can do here. So those will come from the tutorial sheet. The ones that are on the application of this that then come directly in the sketch or asking us to sketch. But maybe you're given the focus and the directives, then they ask you to sketch, or you're given one of them and then you ask to sketch. So we'll look at all those when we start looking at the tutorial sheet. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.